This is the collision of common sense and comedy. This is Defenders Live.
Oh, I hope everybody had a good Memorial Day last week. I realized that I forgot to say that I wasn't doing a show last week, and so I got a lot of messages from people saying, "What are you doing? Where are you?" I'm sorry. I was, I was spending time with family like normal people do. I had some bratwursts and some hamburgers and some goofy stuff and just, hung out. So I apologize. I hope everybody else had a great holiday. Actually remembered the point of Memorial Day, which is the fallen veterans who have paid the price to give us the freedoms that we have, or what we have left of them. So yeah, there you go. Welcome to the show. Follow us on all social medias at DOAE Show, especially on Twitter, because as of right now, I think I've got the tweet deck thing working properly. So if you actually talk at the show, not on mine, I don't have it hooked up on mine. I couldn't figure out how to do that. But I do have the shows up. So if you do tweet your comments and everything else to at DOAE Show, I will see them and may even be able to respond to them. We're back. Anyway, so let me start from the beginning. As all of you should know, this is June. I know a little bit more specifically. This has officially become Pride Month. And I've always been really, how should I put this? I think it's stupid to celebrate a full month of something, of anything, for even like Christmas. As much as I like Christmas, I think that would be too much. Anything that you kind of hold above somebody else in some way or another, I find that irritating. And we always have these months. Was it last month or the month before? Was the Asian Pacific Islanders month or whatever? There's all these different ones. But now we're on Pride Month. And I have learned, I tried to put my foot into Twitter again a little bit. I opened my mouth and I made the comment that I found it a little sad that we have to have a month celebrating what could be understood as an arbitrary characteristic of somebody, but that we have to celebrate that. And being a white, heterosexual, cisgender Christian male, apparently I have no right to talk about none of that. So I went out and got a hold of my dear friend, Toby McEvoy, who is, for one weird reason or another, has agreed to come on and talk with us. I don't know why, but I figure he would be the best person to talk to. One, because he was the first one to say yes. Two, he's been in the gay community, I should say. I feel weird when I say it like that, but he's been in the gay community longer than anybody I've known, to the point that before gay was being cool. So, Toby, welcome to the show. Thank you for being a sucker and coming on here.
Well, I thank you for the invitation. You've set the bar a little high on what my expertise might be, but...
Well, I mean... and again, I don't say like you're an old man. You're not. You may have me by a couple years, but not by a lot. But point is, you're somebody who's been in these trenches a lot longer than a lot of these people who open their mouth on social media, who are in the news outlets, all across everything. You've had to a degree, fight, as it were. Maybe not to some degrees, but I mean, but. Whatever you're comfortable with, tell us your backstory on this.
I have seen the trenches a lot. I don't really think I fought in the trenches because it's not the characteristic I want people to know the most. And that has been true for decades. And it was one of the struggles I had. My coming out occurred in a group therapy office.
Okay.
That's where I would say my coming out actually occurred. And after a lot of wrestling with a demon or 12, I finally said, F it. This is my life for what it is. I have never been denied employment.
Mm-hmm.
I've occasionally thought I've had employment retained for me, not only because I'm generally good at my job, but I've avoided some layoffs, and I've often wondered if I've met quotas that employers have needed to avoid or delay some layoffs. We hear the term gay rights. I don't know what rights I don't have. Even decades ago, people would tell me, oh, well, you can't get married. That's not a right. That's a privilege. And there were all sorts of arguments about why that's the case. And statements like that mean that I don't get to participate in a lot of those discussions.
See, that's
one or
that's
two simple truths do a pretty good job of shutting down insane arguments.
Right, and that was the thing. Nobody wants to have those conversations. Perfect. Let's start there. I want the marriage thing. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but prior to Obama, legalizing gay marriage, there were ways.
Rereading the Constitution, whatever.
Yeah, right. What tomato? There were laws, there were things in place for anyone in the gay community to be able to still reap of the benefits that a quote-unquote heterosexual married couple would get. It may not have been as
two examples.
I was going to say perfect.
Two examples.
Uh-huh.
And so one of them, from the state of Nevada, we did get, and I have forgotten what the certificate is. It's some kind of special certificate that we got because we did think one of us was about to lose a job back in 08, 09, 2010, something like that. Mm-hmm. And so in order to put each other on each other's health insurance, we needed, I forget, it's been a long time. And like I didn't research for this event. I'm just going from my memory. But so the Nevada Secretary of State, we paid $35. We got a certificate with both of our names on it. Boy, doesn't that sound romantic.
Oh, oof.
So that allowed us, if we needed to put each other on each other's health insurance. Additionally, we have purchased a trust. And so we have a trust that has both of our names on it, and we have our own beneficiaries of those trusts. Should something happen to one of us or both of us, the trust covers us.
Okay.
I have been admonished by friends of mine, oh, you're wealthy, so you can afford a trust.
Wait, what? Say
yes.
You're wealthy?
For claiming that the trust protects all of those things that you were describing. Well, you're wealthy, so you can have a trust. Okay.
I didn't realize that was a requirement to have a trust. I mean, I don't have one, but I'm pretty sure that that's not on the requirement. When you go in to the whatever financial institution you were getting said trust with, they're not going to have on this list of criteria, you must be rich. I don't think that's there.
It helps to have wealth to write the check, admittedly.
True.
So those things do cost money.
But wouldn't that also...
We make money, we save money, we spend money on those things.
Right, but I was going to say, but you know, as a sidebar, and I'm sorry, tangent ADHD kicking in, but to have a trust, it's literally just a matter of how good are you with your money. That's ultimately what it is. It's not about, well, you are wealthy, therefore you can have. I hate stupid. God, I hate stupid.
It was more wealth shaming than anything else. But you were talking about the pre-Obama era, and yes, there were things in place, and we found out what some of them were and took advantage, purchased, invested, what have you, for those types of things.
Yeah, no, I'll admit it may not have been as simple as it is for straight folks, because literally when you get married, it's a matter of just, changing, a couple of little signatures and and it might be done. I'm sure you might have had to jump through a little bit more of a hoop, but not tons. You were able in one facet or another be able to be on each other's insurance, because I had that argument, and I'm not in the gay community, so I don't know, but every job I've ever had, you would go in and you get the setup for your health benefits. They never asked me for marriage certificate. They never asked me for the closest any certificate I've ever had to have, to prove anything was when I put my son on my insurance. They wanted a birth certificate. That's it. So, and maybe I didn't pay attention. I don't know. But I'm like, you have the same options. Like, they're all still there. So why push so hard to do this? I even made a comment on Twitter. I'm like, congratulations. Now you get to be just as financially and mentally and emotionally destroyed as any other person does when they go through a divorce. Congratulations. Bravo to you. They didn't like
And you
that.
would think after that, equality had finally been achieved.
That's what I thought.
Right now,
Apparently not.
we were wrong.
Apparently I am wrong. I've been told, and you can tell me, that the gay community, and I could probably find the tweet somewhere officially, how I've been accused that basically these people are still currently today, your community is still being hunted down and beaten to death, and you're fighting for your lives and rights. I'm wondering, just if you can't say it, that's fine. I understand it's a personal thing. But when was the last time you had a beating?
You mean for free?
Yeah. I was going to go somewhere else with that, but we're going to.
Steals. Okay. Yeah, an excellent point. An excellent rhetorical point. No, I have not feared for my life because of the homosexuality.
No, okay, now, pause for a second.
Maybe I'm blessed. I'm blessed because of that. I don't know.
I don't know. That's what I was getting ready to ask, just so we're clear, because I know, like, technically where a lot of this stuff would come from. You currently live in the state of Nevada.
True.
Okay. Have you lived there your entire life, or did you move there?
Moved here in 2008.
Okay, from where?
From Cincinnati, Ohio.
Have you ever lived in the South?
I have never lived south of the Mason-Dixon line.
Okay. So, one could argue, I'm going to play a devil's advocate here. One could argue that technically up north, as it was allegedly with slavery during the Civil War, that the South is where all the bad people that do this hunting and beating and everything, and you just happen to be on the good side of the line and may not have been around any of that. I, as somebody who's grown up in the South.
It's possible I was nowhere near a reservation to have to walk off of it. A plantation. Sorry about that.
Tomato. Again, it was really all the same thing if you think about it. But yeah, so you've never had people that beat you. So that's odd. I keep hearing all of this stuff. I keep hearing how, I understand how, there are idiots, but there's idiots in every camp, just so we're clear. But there's idiots out there who turn around and will, they'll say, well, this one incident happened where some jackwagon, did decide, hey, I'm going to go get me a gay feller or something and take him out, whatever. It does happen. Okay? There are idiots everywhere. But why is it that those situations are highlighted and they're used to paint the entire thing? If it bleeds, it leads. I guess because to me, it doesn't make a lick of sense. If you're going to take those instances and say, well, that one person in that one instance paints the whole thing, then you should be able to apply it across the board, and yet you can't.
Right. So I want to come up with a similar example, while not the violence you are describing. Mm-hmm. There's an injustice in this other example, which used to be, I believe, overblown. happened a few times, received a lot of spotlight, and that was visiting patients in hospitals.
I'm glad you brought that up because I've always wondered about that.
Right. And there were times, especially when we were living in Southwest Ohio, that I would go into a hospital if Chris had an event or something that I thought I would have a very difficult time getting to see him.
Mm-hmm.
I never had a difficult time trying to get to see him. I could introduce myself, smile, say good afternoon. Oh, right this way, sir. He's in this room.
Huh.
Never had a problem.
Really?
Now,
that's weird.
Yeah. So that makes me wonder, those people who had problems, maybe they were in faith-based hospitals. Maybe they were surly to a nurse who didn't want to deal with them. And rather than saying, hey, that person's rude, I don't want to deal with them, the individual says, well, they must hate me because I'm gay.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't possibly hate me because I'm rude all the time and not everyone hates me.
Now, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. It could never be my fault. No, I heard about, and I've been trying to find it. I heard there was a study done once where they took a bunch of ladies. They were and they told the ladies that what they're doing is they're trying to test out discrimination against visually disfigured people. You know what I mean? It's like they painted and did makeup and stuff to make them look like they were scarred and disfigured in the face or whatever. And then they showed them the picture, and they showed them a mirror after they were all done. So you see, this is how you look like. And what you're going to do is you're going to go in and talk to these people, and you're going to try and get a job, and we're going to see what happens. Before they went into the interview, however, they're like, hold on a second. We noticed some things we want to do. Let's just touch it up, and we want to make sure your scars are a little bit more real. They ended up in the touching up. They took them all off. So the ladies walked in completely normal. Okay? No scarring, faking death. Perfect faces. They walked in, and then when they walked out of there, had a litany of things to complain about the job interview because they felt that there was things being said indicating about scars that not only were never real in the first place, but they actually didn't show on their face. But because they had it into their brain walking into it that somehow they were a victim, they carried it in and just assumed the other person had it. And I thought that was incredibly fascinating. Because I'm not saying
whatever causes it, it is real.
Yeah,
and it's a little tough to get at. The characteristic of mine is a loser, is a reason to fight, blah 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 blah. I've learned over the years, oh no, it isn't, and I've even told several people throughout the decades, let's find another better reason for you to hate me.
Right.
Let's work on this.
Right. Because I one of my favorite analogies, and nobody seems to like my analogy, but going back to even like having a full month of, let's celebrate the gay community. It's an arbitrary characteristic. That's like saying, let's have a month celebrating everyone who has blue eyes. You know what I mean? It's something that's dumb, or left-handed people or whatever. To me, it's just
make a whole month for me. Add bridge players. You have left-handed blue-eye bridge players. We'll call it August. We'll have a grand time.
There you go. That's what I'm saying. But it's so dumb. It's like people who my analogy that I like to use is it's like having a month for people who like pineapple on pizza. Okay? Do people, if you went to someone's house and saying, hey, it's a group, we're getting together with a bunch of people, we're getting pizza. Somebody goes, I want to have pepperoni, I want to have sausage, I want all this, I want that. And then someone goes, I want pineapple. Most of the people may not want pineapple on there, but you're not going to get downgraded. You're not going to get, you might get a little ribbing or whatever. Ew, that's nasty. But that's about as far as it goes. And now you've turned.
Well, I say, hey, it's November. You have to let me have it.
Right. Not only do you have to let me have it, but every one of you has to have a slice of it. Every one of you has to like it. And every one of you has to turn around and pat me on the back because I do like it. Give me something special out of it. And I'm like, hold on. It's who cares? I truly miss the days when no one cared about what you did. I remember, and again, I'm not that old, but I remember the days when homosexuality has been around for a long time, but nobody knew or cared. Most of the best music that came out of the 60s and 70s were from gay men, and no one cared.
Yep.
You know, it was understood. Hey, Liberace's gay. That's it. It was a part of who they were, but it wasn't.
What's that again?
You didn't know?
What'd you say?
Did I just?
Oh,
you didn't know that? It wasn't the
man.
sequin thing or nothing that gave it away. I'm sorry.
No, really?
I know. I ruined Elton John.
My room shattered.
Oh well, I'm about to hurt you now. Elton John.
No.
Elton John. Queer's a $3 bill. Yes, sir. It was. I know. Like I get it. It's. No, this one is going to floor you. Freddie Mercury from Queen.
Oh, I get that.
That one makes sense. I'm serious. Like these were amazing people, and no one sat there, like, at least to my knowledge, and if they did, it sure as hell wasn't broadcasted and made an issue of.
I think the phrase open secret works here.
I guess.
Everyone knew, and I agree, very few people cared, and they were elevated because of their talent.
Mm-hmm.
They were elevated because of their ability to
Right.
get people to attend their events
Right.
and buy their products,
Right.
and they became stars. And even when they got interviewed on talk shows, they probably talked about their music, and they didn't really talk about their personal lives very much.
Right. And even if they did talk about their personal life, they weren't saying, oh, by the way, this aspect of my life is crucial, and you have
Right.
to make a big deal about it. It's sad to me that and I've in trying to argue with all these people all this week about this whole thing. I feel bad that's as far as you find your worth is
Right.
in who you sleep with or what you prefer to sleep with or whatever. People are more than that. So much more than that. But
Right.
either society is doing it or themselves personally, or a combination of both, are limiting themselves to just this one thing. This is the only thing that makes them have any worth. And I'm like, you're missing so much. You're losing on so much. You could be an amazing. What about your personal achievements? What about overcoming obstacles? And we're not talking about from, again, who you sleep with. What about, hey, I struggle with dyslexia, but you know what? I've been able to do X, Y, and Z because of that. Those are the things that you be proud of. Like, it bothers me.
I try to make.
Hate my signal.
How's your wife? How's your kid?
You froze on me. Are you still there?
Audio.
Yeah, you're sorry. You know what it is sadly in this room, and I haven't done it. I haven't fixed it yet. I haven't moved a hard cable into here, which I could do. So it's on Wi-Fi, which is normally fine, but it's a single computer trying to pull in our call, station our call, and then shoot it right back out again. So it every now and again when they
audio and video.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
Sorry.
Perfect.
Start again.
Okay. I do enjoy chatting with normal families about their normal family, and it's great fun for me to hear because it might feel like a museum exhibit to me, that it's not my life, it's not how my life is set up. For whatever reason, we could say I couldn't or I chose not to, but it's just great fun to talk with people about their spouses and their kids. What do you hope for them? What are they doing? What made them proud this week? That's fun. It's fun to do.
Right. Like, I don't personally get it. Like, I don't understand why people want to be weird about it or whatever. I've always been interested in what other people do and how they do it, because not for nothing, I don't experience that. And it would be kind of cool to, and I don't know, part of that's my brain work. And I'm always interested in how other people are. But anyway, Toby McEvoy is hanging out with us, putting myths to rest, setting the record straight. Y'all don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
In today's troubled world, our USA Armed Forces stand ready to protect you, your family, and our American way of life. When veterans return to civilian life, they deserve your recognition and support. You can help put vets to work by donating your car, truck, or van to Patriotic Hearts. Your donation will directly support programs to help vets find jobs or even start their own business. Donate today for fast, free pickup of your vehicle, running or not. Operators are standing by to answer questions about making a tax-deductible vehicle donation. Find out how you can make a difference in the life of a United States veteran. Call 800-209-6482 for 24-hour response. Call 800-209-6482. 800-209-6482. That's 800-209-6482.
This is Defenders Live.
It is Defenders Live. Follow us on all social medias at DOAE Show. Use the hashtag ArmYourselves. You can live tweet at the show. And I say live, it's only comes on once a week, so unless you're listening on Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, you can't actually do the live tweet part, but still, you can tweet after the fact. Tweet at DOAE Show. You can tweet me at Dylan Lyles. Yeah, there you go. James over on Twitter, he threw it up there. I was expecting to hear hang up the phone, I'm on the internet. When we had the little glitch there for a moment, it was, yeah, sorry about that. Again, I'll do better, okay? I technically would have to take the internet and unplug it from the fiance's computer because she works from home and then plug it in here, which I could do. I just haven't done it yet because I'm lazy. So anyway, we are hanging out with Toby McEvoy, who is our resident homosexual. He has decided.
Yeah, sorry about that.
For some reason, he's agreed to come on here and help put a lot of these. Because I, again, like an idiot, I took a small break from Twitter and I came back and opened my mouth about one thing, and apparently I have not been left alone all week. It's been retarded, and I can't stand it, and I just kind of. I'm regretting my life choices. Let's just put it that way. I'm regretting life choices for sure, because it's just. I've there's and the worst part about it is, and what frustrates me, I think, the most about Twitter is that no one on Twitter, or I can't say no one, very few people on Twitter are actually willing, within a reason, to have a real conversation. They will argue with you until they're blue in the face, and over some of the and no matter what it is or how it is or anything, the arguments, the stuff that comes back is almost like being in school. Well, yeah, well, you're stupid, and that's it. And I can't stay away because I like to tell people that they're stupid, but at the same time, it's like I want to fix things. I'm working on an idea that I want, or I'm planning an idea. I'm trying to figure out how to put it all together. I kind of want to get out. At this point, I don't think, as much as I love doing the show, and the show's not going to stop, just so we're clear, but as much as I love doing the show is not going to do anything. I don't think. It's going to be really difficult to change hearts and minds doing this show, I think. I mean, the show has technically been running for 6.5 years. We haven't really done anything. So I'm thinking about taking it a little bit bigger and a little bit different direction. Still doing the show, but I got some other ideas where we can actually get out and talk to people. Oddly enough, similar to kind of how Crowder would do things. Get out with a little table and blah, blah, blah. Difference is, I think Crowder, to a degree, was trying to instigate and be a douche. Not directly be a douche, but I think he was kind of being a jerk about it. I want to try and see when it walks away from it, even if the opinions, like if I don't change my opinion and that person doesn't change their opinion on anything, we can walk away and at least be able to have a fresh, grasp of respect for another human being with a difference of opinion. That's all I'm after at this point, because I think we've lost that. I mean, am I wrong?
Oh, have we lost the ability to participate in mature adult discourse? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is social media part of the problem there, or any type of keyboard warrior activity? Absolutely. Where do we learn? Where are we supposed to learn mature dialogue from?
Right.
Cable news?
Dear God, that's a joke.
Contemporary television, whether it's comedy or drama?
Not anymore.
So I don't know where we're supposed to learn those things.
Unless you go back to the old things, there's certain, some of them I've noticed not a lot of them, but there's a few of the streaming services that have hold on to some of the older, and I say older, we're talking going back to the 90s, sitcoms and stuff. I watched one of my favorite shows as a kid growing up was Family Matters, and I watched this recently just to nostalgia kicked in, and I watched one episode and I turned it off with going, wait a second, they had a moral. Whatever it was happened. Dad sits down with the son and explains everything, and there's this love, and he tries to really. That's how it was supposed to be. That's how I grew up. That's how I saw things. And I'm like, you can't do that nowadays. There's no moral in anything. No TV show. Nothing. It's some kind of propaganda to one degree or another. And I'm like, holy smokes.
Yep. I still have not seen a single episode of Modern Family because I don't think I want to deal with the agenda.
Yeah, I don't have a problem. Okay, first off, there are certain shows and certain situations that drive me insane. Everyone sits there and goes, I say, perfect example, like with Pride. I'm like, we don't need it on clothes. We don't need children to be doing any of this. We don't need it shoved in. Live your life. If you want to be in a same-sex relationship, then knock yourself out. I don't care. Stop broadcasting it. No one cares. But, I watch a movie. Personally, let's take it like this. Personally, Top Gun to me was one of the greatest movies made. Okay? The original. The first one. Okay? Except for the Righteous Brothers scene, the whole lovemaking scene, that ruined it. That killed it. I don't care to see anybody in a relationship and any type of thing depending on the movie. If I'm watching a romantic comedy, okay. But there's no reason. There was the thing 2 weeks ago, something like that, where the school teacher in Florida showed the kids in the class a Disney show or a movie or whatever that had same-sex characters in it. Why in a Disney movie does that need to be part of the story? Like, I've seen it that way. I've seen it with superheroes. This is another one. The comic books, they're all pushing, well, we've got to have this transgender one or this homosexual group. What about the ability or the sexual preferences of a superhero has to do with that superhero's abilities or the ability to fight crime or to save anything or do whatever? What does that have to do with anything? It doesn't. So why are we pushing it so hard?
It doesn't.
Like, is your sexual preference to a degree? I can't say to a degree. It is. It is part of who you are, right? It is you. It is something you engage in. It's something you do. Same as because the only thing that changes in that aspect is in the difference between, say, you, Toby, and myself is I have a wife and you have a husband. It's just a title change. It's a designation. What is that? That's not even it's an adjective at that point, right? Like, why? Who cares? But apparently,
and we feel so strongly about it. We've never gotten married because it is still my belief only wives have husbands. So you're taking a lot of crap for that viewpoint, but it's something we believe in. We believe in traditional marriage. Marriage, one man, one woman, blessed by God. We cannot make that happen. So we did not get married. We just aren't. So
what you're telling us, are you telling me and the entire world that's hearing this that you were living in sin twice? How dare you, sir? How do you...
At least, but again, those records are sealed.
How dare you, sir? No.
I know.
It's just... and I personally, I commend you on that. That's a great... At this point, though, again, even if you were married, I don't care. I don't care. Congratulations. Either way, it doesn't matter to me. I don't understand why we have to push this stuff. Why is it so important? And why? Tell me why. I don't know if you can, but maybe you can help explain why, if you argue the situation, and if suddenly these people, apparently your community is being hunted on a regular basis. The gay community, which I hate that whole community.
Why those two really dark cars are coming up my driveway right now.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah. Oh, carry on. I'm sure we're fine. Keep going.
They passed us. Oh, thank God. No, I don't understand. Like, I hate the whole community thing. I don't know when we started the whole tribalistic life that we're doing, society that we're doing.
Groups are easier to control than individuals.
I guess that's what it is. But it's bothersome to no end to me. I hate saying the LGBT community. I hate it. It drives me.
You should say the LGBTQ $, because that's what it's about now.
Right. Because they don't, at the end of the day, they don't give two flying figs about you or anybody else. As long as...
Or anybody else.
Right.
3 really big words right there.
Right. Anybody else. As long as they can continue pushing and doing whatever, causing you and I to have division, that's what matters, because then they can continue to reap in a boatload of money. Politicians are not going to be upset about it because they can turn around and then get anything and everything that they absolutely want to have done, or at the very least get money and power, and we all just sit here and bicker at each other like children. Don't get me wrong. I get it. The society, the government has got a lot of things screwed up, and a lot of it is all, and I say a lot of it, 99.9% of it is our fault as citizens, because we are so busy arguing at each other over these little things that we're not taking the time to go, you know what, this is really stupid. This is pointless. There's no reason to argue over this. Let's start looking and focusing on what the actual problems are. Slight off topic, but immigration. I will completely agree that the immigration laws and everything in this country are garbage. Ask Jonathan Dunn how what it's like.
No kidding.
Ask him.
The system is broken, and the fix isn't, well, just work around the system.
Right.
That's not right.
No, and arguing with each other over whether people should be allowed into the country, you know what I mean, from south of the border for whatever reason. And that's where it is. It's this blanketed thing. One of the tweets that I had gotten on this, again, this whole stupid thing, was something that they said, though they're not being accepted, where have you been for the past 5 years? Listen to this part, and this is what it gets me every time. The entire right is currently using the full force of the culture war to crack down on gay and trans people. Now, I don't know about you, Toby, but I don't see that.
No, I don't.
I don't see the right doing that.
They could be hunting me down, and I'm just too busy to notice.
Maybe they're being slick about it.
They're being really slick.
One of your bridge students is an insider, is an incel. You need to. Have you checked on them? You haven't checked anybody's background, have you? You just let them through your door.
Mostly because I'll teach anybody bridge that wants to learn it.
I don't get it. I had another one I had seen earlier, and I'm not going to pull it up, but it was along the same lines. They were trying to imply that the right is trying to push all of these, what did they say? It was like 650 anti-gay and trans bills just this month or some crapola like that. And I cannot be the only person, I can't, who knows that the way politics and politicians are working nowadays is they don't enter in a single bill about a single thing and they talk about that single, do a vote on that single subject. It's a omnibus bill. It's here's 300 other things that are thrown in there with it. And then what happened, and it's all a ruse, it's all a game. Because then what happens is when the other side reads it, they may agree with that particular situation, but they're like, we're not going to pass this bill because of this one thing in here, and they won't change it. And therefore, the other team can go back and go, see, they won't allow you to have your rights. How dare they? I'm not the only one who sees this, but apparently
no, it's gross.
I'm the only person who remembers it.
Well, back in the day when rocks were soft, remember that when they put the pork in the bill, in some type of an omnibus bill, the trick was to legalize marijuana.
Yeah.
So they throw a marijuana legalization thing in a bill, they wanted the whole thing killed. Well, that doesn't work so well anymore. So I wonder what polarizing personal attribute we can pick on to manipulate these bills.
I don't know. That's
strange.
That's a weird one. That's I feel like it's on the tip of my tongue, but we'll come back. We'll put a pin in that and come back later. I'm sure we'll think of it.
And speaking of that, I just wanted to conjecture, is it possible that LGBTQ is simply easier to spell than narcissism?
I think so, because to this day, I still can't spell narcissism.
See?
God, you're talking about the groups again. Like, I can't stand that idea of a group because, like, okay, shifting gears a tad. Let's go to the trans side of things, which I know which is what's bad is they've taken over your community, Toby. It's I don't care what anybody says. It's starting to be this weird faction of where they will say LGBTQ, LMNOP, +, $, whatever. But at the end of it all, it's now become trans. That's the popular thing that's going on. Like, one, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about these group of people kind of hijacking, if we can give credence to having said community? Like, what is it like? Does that bother you at all? Like, I mean, I don't know how much, again, you associate as a community, but
any group doing what these people are trying to do to children, subverting a parent-child relationship, it is maddening and it's disgusting. I don't care what those individual people do. and how it differs from when they're in public versus when they're in private. Yeah, it's awful, and I am willing to believe that community is being hijacked.
Yeah.
That this group of useful idiots has been deployed to a regrettable amount of success.
Yeah. Yeah, because I have a bad feeling that it's going to get bad for them, because you're going to have you're going to, at some point, we've already seen little bits of it, not that they're going to acknowledge it, but you're going to find that there's going to be little bits of these guys that are just men trying to prey on children, or not just men, but period, just people trying to prey on young children.
So what happens, I think you're familiar with the Bubba effect. What happens when the Bubba effect kicks in and someone decides to go after these transurrectionists by attacking the LGBTs for, hey, you guys started this nonsense?
Right.
I am actually a little terrified that type of thing might happen, is that someone's going after an individual or a very small group of these awful people.
Yep.
We'll look at the larger bucket of these people who have these attributes.
Yep.
And there might be places I may not be safe.
Right.
These stories about the full-throated efforts to go after them, they might be predicting the future rather than talking about what's going on in the past. I am actually a little concerned, and I do turn my head from time to time, and I know I need to get really serious about the Second Amendment.
Yeah. I think that's one of the reasons why in this, I say I'm passionate. I don't know if passion is the right word, but this is one of the reasons why I want to get out of the streets and actually start talking to people, because if we don't start realizing again that we're still people, that we're going to end up being engaged, we're going to have an Archduke Ferdinand type moment, and we're going to have a civil war, but it's not going to be, blacks against whites. It's not going to be North against South. It's going to be, the right, the straight right against the gay left, basically. And like you said, you're having this group who will suddenly be targeted and labeled as something for what a couple of incels. Look, I mean, they do the same thing to the right and everything else. We're asking for it. We're looking at,
it's punishing the whole class for the actions of a few.
Right. And
but this could have some awful consequences.
Yeah, and we're screwed. Like we're going to end up killing each other, and for what? Are there bad people? Yes, there are bad people, but like going back to the Second Amendment, you're not going to get rid of gun violence by taking away guns from everyone.
That's right.
You can't. It doesn't work that way. If that worked, then you wouldn't need the 350,000 plus gun laws that are in this country. You wouldn't need just the law of, don't kill somebody would be enough. But criminals don't follow law.
We wouldn't be able to make jokes about Chicago.
Right, exactly. I mentioned that to somebody. I'm like, you're going to sit here and talk about, this group. Well, most of the killing is being done in Chicago and black on black crime. And somebody's like, well, that's just because they live so close together. What? I'm sorry,
so
what?
The bullets don't travel as far?
I guess. Well, what they said was that they live together and they're all more packed in that one spots or in those spots. And so that's why they're killing each other. However, whites are killing blacks is unproportionately or some weird thing like that. I'm just like, wait, hold on. That doesn't make sense. If they're doing more killing because they live around each other. So I got really confused in it. I just couldn't talk about it anymore. But we are headed that direction where we're going to start one thing or another. Somebody's going to blame someone for something else because somebody is going to cross a line. And like you said, Bubba Effect's going to kick in, and somebody's going to stand up and say, no more. I'm done. And they've already tried doing it. I've seen it on a couple things on Twitter. With the whole Target thing, throwing up the clothing and stuff for the kids. And then shortly afterwards, people were posting pictures saying, oh, look what the right did. And look what these group came in and did all like complete lie. And come to find out the pictures and the videos and everything were from the looting that was done during George Floyd.
Pandemic.
Uh-huh. And you're like, wait a second. But who's going to believe that? Who's going to look back on his stuff now? You're going to have that reaction.
Never let facts get in the way of a solid agenda.
Oh, I know. It ends justifying the means. It doesn't matter what truth is anymore. And that's the part that bugs me. I don't think I'm going to be able to make a difference, but I'm going to damn sure try. Because I don't. We need to go back to the day where you lived your life. You did and you did as you saw fit and was best for you and your family. You agreed to disagree. And like I've mentioned this before, we can't even agree on nowadays on what the problem is. Like we could at least agree back in the day where the problem was. We just couldn't agree on how to solve it. Now we can't even say what's right and wrong. And that's just sad. Oxford College, because, yay, the Oxford College, the stupid thing would get off my screen, announced Thursday that violating any new transgender harassment policy, including using wrong pronouns, could lead to expulsion.
It's a shame it doesn't lead to a sudden drop in enrollment.
I know. I don't understand. The Regents Park College released a trans exclusion or inclusion statement, which outlines in detail what the college considers quote unquote transphobic harassment and threatens offenders with severe penalties, including expulsion. The statement declares, quote, any unlawful discriminatory behavior. Pause there for a minute. Is there such a thing as lawful discriminatory behavior? I'm curious. Yeah. Including transphobic harassment or bullying by any individuals or groups will be regarded extremely serious and could be grounds for disciplinary action, which may include expulsion or dismissal, end quote. Now, I'm sorry, but this is a bit much.
It's insane.
It literally in all facets. I've said it many times. I feel bad for these trans people. Now, the adults. I'm not talking about the crap that these are doing to the kids. That's beyond disgusting. I'm not going into that today. We'll do that another day.
Mm-hmm.
But
wow, look at the time.
I know. That did actually. I was like, yep, I don't have time to go into that rant. But what they do to kids at this point, that's disgusting. We're not talking about that. But as an adult, as an actual adult, if you have decided through whatever it has happened to you in your life, and even if it's something as simple as, well, I got picked on and I could never find myself and this group took me in. Okay. If you've come to a point that you think that the extreme surgery to change your entire outward appearance to fit what you think is going on the inside, my heart goes out to you. It truly does. I can't imagine what it is that made you think that is going to fix anything. It breaks my heart that there are people out there like that. But if you do it and you have gone through this years and you've like, this is what I've decided to do and blah, blah, blah. Okay, then do it. But don't sit here and think that people are not going to be, again, you shouldn't be a douche about it, but don't think for a second that people are not going to sit there and go, wow, that's a little odd. Because that's an extreme move. I mean, I can't be crazy, but as a guy, I would think it's a little bit strange to walk into a doctor's office and go, you see that down there? Get rid of it. I'm kind of attached to mine. I don't know about you, but...
I really wasn't taking questions.
I'm just saying but I feel bad for these people. But here's my thing. And again, I'm only talking about the adults. If an adult walks in to a psychiatrist or a doctor or whatever and says, hey, I think I'm a different gender or sex, whatever it is. They keep interchanging them. I need to be changed like this. They'll do it in a heartbeat. But If you walk in and said, hey, I'm a tree, you know what I mean? Or I'm a dog, or I'm this, I'm that, I'm whatever. They'll start looking at you like you're crazy, but the only one that you're not crazy on is when you think you're a different gender. Anyway, we have quickly run out of time. Toby, do you want to share your socials? Do you want people to talk to you, or are you good at hiding them?
Best way to get to me on Twitter, at McEvoyTM.
There you go, at McEvoyTM. Dude, thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate you coming on and doing this, especially short notice. It was a blast. You're going to have to come on again at some point.
I look forward to it.
I do as well. Thank you for everybody listening. This is Defenders Live. Go to DOAE Show on the social medias, everywhere you can. Use hashtag arm yourselves. Leave a comment. Share it around. Find somebody that you don't like. Let them hear the show. We will see y'all latest. Bye, y'all.